Hi, Mad Talk quick episode. I'm Coach Guy Griever. This is Coach Dave Butterworth, and we're going to try something out a little bit. We're going to have these couple of questions. We've been running a session now, our first session, with a young group of girls who are between the ages of 10 and 14, and we think it's been going well. And so we're just going to try to answer a couple questions with a stipulation that our answers are going to take only about a minute. So kind of a little rapid fire type of thing here, right? Does that sound about right?
Sounds great.
Okay, so you'll go. Do you have your timer?
No. Should we ballpark it and see how close we are? Should we use our internal clocks?
Let's try that. Let's try that.
Like, no, it's time's up. You're done.
I got it. I'm gonna buzz you. No. Okay. Do you want to go first or second? I have the question.
I want you to kick us off.
I'll ask the question.
I want you to start us.
You'll answer.
You ask the question and you answer.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I want you to start us off.
Question one. I'll ask the question. I'll answer for about a minute. You'll answer for about a minute, and then we'll move on. Okay. So question one is, which of the exercises, activities, or skill practice have we used with this first group that we observe as being most effective? However you want to think of that. So I would say that for me, number one in my book we started with on day one, sprinters marches. Our boom, 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 our sort of has started out very slowly talking about getting a big leg split, driving the foot into the ground. And then we've progressed, to a series of 1, then 3, and then we've done 5. We've done jump traveling. I think for me, that seems to be, I just think it's so effective because a lot of these kids, it's great that we just trust them to run and be fast. But I don't know if they ever really think about it in the way of force production from striking the ground. And we don't even really explain it to them like that. We talk about cocking the hammer. And yeah, if you want to throw the hammer into the ground, if you want to throw this piston in the ground, you're going to want a little more distance to get it going and starting like that. And I think just by having them work on it and then watching them running afterwards, I see that manifesting itself almost without any other teaching points besides, hey, this is what we're going to do. And then when we go to our sprint stimulus, it's like watching some of them after they've practiced a little bit more. That's top in my book when I think about it. And then I probably have a couple seconds, but I would say that a lot of the overhead stuff with the pipes I really like for this particular group as well. I think it's about a minute. So,
well, because you mentioned the big split, I'm going to piggyback on that.
Okay.
And also because I think a lot of people are in this because they want to get faster, because they want to apply it to their sport. Maybe they have a better chance at being successful in their sport and making waves in their life. And we know speed impacts that in an incredible way. Mm-hmm. And the big split has a huge role in that. So if we can pick a drill that, because all day you can say you want to do things differently in your sprinting consciously, but the brain has other ideas. And we talk about this sometimes. Like we can cue as a coach, like, hey, I want you to do this with your arms. I want you to do this. That's not how it works. Like if you could consciously think like, I want to do this change, and then it would automatically have, like, we'd have people, doing this stuff all over the place and getting faster and making those changes. It's like, so if we can pick a drill that actually does some of these things, or teaches you teach yourself through the exhibition of this drill to make these changes, because your body is forced to either remember these things or like be in a certain position. So it's like a game, right? If you put some constraints on the situation, there might be only a couple of ways to solve that problem. And if your brain chooses how to solve that problem, these things are going to take effect more swimmingly, I think. So the big split stuff is big because we know that the fastest guys and girls in the world, they have a big split. And they've shown with like team sport athletes who are really fast compared to peers who are at the very top of the game, like the fastest sprinters in the world, there's a bit difference in the split, and they're faster. The top sprinters in the world are faster than the fastest team sport athletes, like the fastest football player, the fastest, rugby player, and so on and so forth. Like the fastest sprinters in the world are faster, and they have a bigger split. So we know the big split. And when we say big split, we're talking, just to clarify, we're talking about the split between the thighs. So I guess in a very rough way, should we? Yeah, there it is. So the angle that's created between this thigh right here and this thigh here, and I think I like Tony Holler talks about, so this angle right?
Mhm.
In a team sport athlete who's really fast, it might be anywhere between 85 and 100 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
One of the fastest sprinters in the
Yeah.
world, guys and girls, as far as I can tell, as
Mhm.
far as I've been able to glean from, what's out there to look at,
Mhm.
the split of the top sprinters in the world, guys and girls, is anywhere between 105
Mhm.
degrees and 115
Yeah.
degrees. It's bigger.
That's what I've seen too.
So if we can start to play around with these drills, and then people are starting to have these bigger splits as a consequence.
Yeah.
Well, and you talked about force production, because now there's more room
Mhm.
to then accelerate the leg down into the ground, which is another thing we know that the fastest people do at a faster rate and with higher forces than anyone around.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think that's a great way to kick it off.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. And just as an aside, now it leads us into another, but we can clip this if we want to, or put it out as the whole. I think that's tricky for me always, is the balance. I think you do a really nice job, better than I do, of allowing more room for the body to trust and figure out. I've gotten better at it. Instead of you mentioned specifically saying, hey, do this with your arm, do this with your leg. It's a tough balance, because you have to have a skill or a drill set up well enough that there's an opportunity for the body to figure out itself, without wanting to specifically say to kids, you have to put your foot here. No, every body is going to work a little differently. And the best way, that's why it's so important, I think, for these kids to be doing it, is to figure that out while their body is in this growing stage, and they don't have so many little things hardwired into them. They're really malleable and adaptable, and I think that you do a great job of that, actually. I think that I tend to be one to more say, hey, think about pushing this and that, which is, it's okay, especially with an individual who you're maybe talking about something with specifically, some of the time. But sometimes I think I do a little too much of that, instead of saying, this is what we're giving the big thing, and let themselves figure it out. So,
well, we still have to explain the drill.
Yes.
We still have to cue what we're looking for. And I think we're learning. Like, sometimes we get lucky, like we might put a drill out there that does what we want it to do, and we don't even know what we're doing. But we picked a drill that and sometimes we're like, oh no, I see this group, I see this person, like, I think this drill is a good fit.
Yep.
And we're learning. Like, we're
continually,
we're learning and assessing, like, what works, what doesn't.
Mhm.
Oh, this drill has come into our consciousness, but we know some of the things we're looking for. I love the Ken Clark, talking about Ken Clark, in my opinion, has done a really good job, expert job of talking about what makes people fast. Well,
Yep.
and these things I'm still learning, like to ride his coattails and try to figure out, like, listen to him more and more, like, okay, what actually makes someone fast? Well, then it's still our job as a coach to figure out how to get those things to manifest in an individual,
Mhm.
because we know what the fastest guys do. Well, now the bridge is like,
Right.
how do we get more people to do those things? Or do people just do those things already because they're fast?
Right.
Well, what about someone who's trying to get faster?
Yeah, exactly.
And so
because how are you going to, if they wouldn't be special, right? Because if everybody just did it, we'd all be, oh, no one's really that much faster. So what is it? And some of them haven't had specific training. They've only figured it out with the body. But some of us need some more training. I know that I certainly could have benefited from it in my athletic career.
Oh, me too.
For sure. So,
I wish someone was saying some of the things I'm saying. And I guess this is, hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
And if I was saying the same things I was thinking when I was, 20 years old, that'd be a problem.
Yeah.
Right. But I wish someone was around, just even planting these seeds and getting me to think about some of the, not only just speed training as a whole, like being important, but like some of the things that you can do to develop your speed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's go to question 2 here, because we were going to do it rapid fire, and now we're going to have to cut it up if we want that. But that's fine. That's fine. And then afterwards we can revisit anything we want to. Question 2. Before we started, we both were going to write down a list of 10 things that were our top, in order, top priority to get done with this group of youth that we're starting. And we both, I think, came back and we both had only 3 or 4, because we're both kind of keep it simple guys, and not to get too much in the mud. But both of us, had some version of our top priority was to keep it joyful, to keep it as a positive experience in the kids' mind, not as something they were walking away from going, gosh, I don't know if I want to go back to that. And in other words, right, to keep it fun. Um, I don't like to necessarily say because it's not just about fun, but to keep it joyful. So, what is your assessment of how we have done? I mean, if you were going to grade us, if you were just going to say, oh, I think we've done a really good job. I think we've done okay. That's the question. You want to answer this one first? You want me to?
What do you
1
think?
minute.
What do you think?
Well, my 1 minute is, I think, see, I have a little bit of an unfair advantage over you, maybe, because my kids are doing it with us right now. So I have a couple kids that are doing it with the group, and also some of their friends, so I can talk to them outside. But I think it's been awesome. I think that I'm going to have a tough time keeping this to our 1 minute. But
yeah,
I know for a fact that some of the kids showing up from talking to their parents did not want to come. It was like, hey, how are they feeling about it? Oh, maybe this one's pretty excited. This one said this is going to suck. Because their idea was, well, it's training, and we know in training it's hard. We kind of grind through it. But for us, again, fatigue is our enemy in our training, in much of our training. And also, if you don't want to be there, you're not going to be able to get out of it what you should. You don't want to be bitter about being there, thinking there's a million places I'd rather be, or, oh, it's time to go to mad speed training. Oh, okay, I guess I'll go. Like, that's not the feeling we want at all.
yeah,
And that's not to say that some days aren't better than others for every individual, but we gamify so much of it. And after kids, I've talked to parents of the same kids and kids themselves. It's like, hey, you thought we were just going to run you till you puke, huh, when you heard we were doing training. They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, what do you think about it now? You can be honest. We're looking for feedback. Oh, it's fun. Like, I love it. I love speed training. I want to go, and we try to keep it fun. They get plenty of rest time. It's unlike much of what they have experienced in training before. And I think we're going to see that not only do we think it's effective to be rested and be able to go at full capacity when we need to, but it keeps it joyful, and it keeps it from being just another grinding thing. There's some things in life we just have to grind through, and in sports also. But this is not one of them. Like, we think the training is more effective if there's a sense of joy involved when people arrive. They're looking forward to coming and being like, well, first of all, I do get faster and better. Second of all, it's just a fun way to be with a group of fellow athletes and kids their age.
yeah. Community building. I think we're doing pretty good. I think this is going to be great for my wife to listen to, because when I come home and she asks me how's everything going, she wants to know all about them, and I say it's great, and she wants more. So you just gave some more.
I did.
So I could just share this with Shayla.
Yeah, I could give you
That's
some more
fantastic.
details too if you need.
I think feeling like something's going to suck when you go into it, because you've learned that it sucks when you go into it, and now you're practicing that, is like the opposite of those things we're trying to cultivate: the connection, the community, and we're all in this together, and yeah, it's not just that we're making it fun, but I think people feel connected, and they feel a sense of belonging to something that is pretty cool.
Yeah. How much cheering is there from the group of girls who's not testing or running at the moment for the others? There's so much encouragement.
Yeah, we're
and
not forcing any of that.
No, it's
I think
genuine.
that's important to say too.
Yes.
Like, don't think like you're going to be asked to like be a cheerleader. So
No.
that's not what we're saying at all. It's a very organic transpiration.
Yes, it is. The positive energy. They're just excited for someone to do something that they think is awesome, and they're excited for that person. I think that's really good. Yeah, and I think that's so important. What you said is you're going into it. I say a lot. One of the things I've said to you a lot is, and I say to kids that I coach, is like, attitude helps control experience. So, and you hear me say this all the time too. Whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it. So if you go into it looking for all the reasons it's not going to be fun and this and that, whatever your prior experience is, yeah, you're going to be able to probably find that. And so we've created, I think, an area where kids are looking forward to going. And so it just builds on itself. It's a snowball effect of, I'm looking for positive energy, positive feedback, positive things. And then they pass it along to each other, and it's just contagious. And
Yeah.
I think they are having a really good time, which is, we're going to have a good time just because we're into it. That's part of the reason why we started this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think to see them just through observation, having a really good time and having fun and talking to some of them afterwards has been, it's just been some good affirmation.
Yeah.
On the personal
It's
level.
really cool feedback. And because you're saying these things, I'm going to share. I took a football team to a California Berkeley football camp one time, and after hours, the coaches would all go somewhere. And Jeff Tedford was the head coach at the time, and we were all meeting in this room. And I can't remember how it was. I don't think he was like giving a speech or anything. I think it was just you're going around talking to all these other high school coaches, all these college coaches, and you're just hanging out basically at the end of the day. And he said something to the effect of the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. And it was like, I never heard anyone like put it exactly like that, but like it hit me right away. Like, oh man, yeah. Like whether it's your relationships with other people,
right,
your relationships with yourself, your relationships with, you know, what's happening, and gosh, isn't that the essence of this thing? At least I think we tend to think that, like, yeah, you can't get any closer to hitting this life thing on the head than something like that. So I think both of us listed in some way or fashion, like going back to that, or our original list with each other, like we played this game of like, write the things that are really important to you. And we only came up with like 3 or 4, but I think one of them was the first one, like you said, it was all about relationships and fun and this idea of connection, community. And that was our number one, both of us respectively. And so it's cool. Yeah. It's unfolding. We haven't done anything yet, but it's happening.
Yes, it is.
And it's pretty cool.
Yes, it is. Taking the first step. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna shut this one down. It'll be shorter. There'll be more to come. That's not to say we won't film another one right now either, but trying to do like a couple little shorter ones and clip them and cut it up. So we'll get back to it.
Sweet.